Hello and welcome to the Escape Podcast, your source for all good things in the universe of movies. I'm Brandon.
Hello and welcome to the Escape Podcast, your source for all good things in the universe of movies. I'm Josh. Join us as we explore the vast reaches of science fiction, fantasy, action-adventure, and beyond.
And I'm Brandon, again, still.
No, you see what I just did there? I remade yours, and then I did it with a sequel.
Oh, almost
I made
like
a sequel out of
we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, you see the segue?
Yeah, it's very smart. All right, so in today's episode, it's actually going to be our first two-parter. As we were doing the episode, we realized we were going over and might as well split it up. So in part one, we're going to be talking about a rundown of the movies of 2017, all the prequels, sequels, and remakes that are coming out this year. And there are quite a few.
Yep, quite a few. And you wrote them all down.
Yeah, we go through each and every one. We don't say a whole lot, but we mention them and how we feel about them. And then on part two, after this, we'll be discussing more in depth on some of the best and worst sequels that have been made and some of the remakes that are coming out as well.
Right, yeah. We kind of specifically picked a good and bad remake and sequel and what we thought about it, but not just for 17, for all time.
And our schedules can be changing slightly here. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so we were trying always to do the best we could to do one a week. And for me, it's just kind of getting too hard. I posted a thing on Facebook about it, but I have two jobs and a family and just all the other things going on. It's just really hard to have time to even sit down and watch a movie and write notes and all that kind of stuff. So I asked you and you were cool with it. So we're going to try to do 2 a month. The goal is the second and fourth Sunday of every month have a new one come out, and hopefully that will work out.
Right. Yeah, we don't get paid to do this or anything. We don't have any advertisers or anything. This is just something we're doing, a labor of love.
Yeah.
So if you guys wanted to get more, we'd be happy to do it. Just get more people to listen and make us money. We'll make t-shirts or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. We have a little bit of additional movie news before we start this episode, right?
Yes, a little bit.
What was on the first part?
Well, I had heard that Shane West, who was in the original Predator, he's went on to direct quite a few movies. I think he did Iron Man 3, and he did a few others, but he's written some movies and directed some movies and whatever. So he was going to direct a sequel to Predator called The Predator.
And he was in The Predator, right?
Yeah, he was in the original one. He was the guy telling all the dirty jokes.
Okay.
So he, I guess, was going to do a new Predator, and it was going to have Arnold Schwarzenegger come back as his character Dutch from the first movie. Well, I just heard, I don't know if it's how true it is or if it's just rumor, that Schwarzenegger is now saying he's out of it. I haven't heard why yet, though.
Yeah, that's a little bit strange. I was kind of looking forward to that.
Right. It's
not necessary, I suppose. I know that he's been, rumored to be involved in a lot of stuff that was like remakes of his previous works.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new Terminator, I'm sure, coming out soon. I know he was going to do things for other movies, like I'd heard him doing more about Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
And we should cover those on the podcast at some
Definitely.
point.
Yeah, because I have never seen them completely. I've seen some of them when I was a kid, but never completely.
You should see them, but you probably won't need to see them too much more than once. That's another thing. Hey, there's a sequel or a remake of that, reboot, whatever. We can talk about that later too. Yeah, I'd also heard about him, them remaking the Toxic Avenger with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Really?
Yes.
Who would he be in it?
I'm not sure. I think that it was rumored that he was going to be like a mentor to the Toxic Avenger.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's still attached to that, and I haven't actually heard any updates on that in a long time, so I don't know if it's like stuck in development or what's going on.
Right.
I wouldn't expect to see that anytime soon, though.
Yeah.
News for me, I just finished watching an early screening of the first episode of the new Mystery Science Theater.
Okay.
I'm sure, some of the people listening to our podcast are dorky enough to know what I'm talking about there. Yeah, if you don't know what it is, it's a show, you've probably seen it, where they have a silhouette of a guy and two robots sitting at the bottom of the TV, and then they're watching an old bad movie and making, comedic comments while they're watching the movie. And I'm pretty happy. I was part of the backer. It had a Kickstarter.
Okay.
They were trying to get 3 new episodes for, I think, about $2 million, and they ended up getting over $6 million and making 14 new episodes.
Wow.
And I just watched the first one with a new host and new people voicing the puppets and stuff. There's some celebrities attached to it, like Patton Oswalt is one of the main characters.
Okay.
The episode actually opened up with Wesley Crusher
Oh, really? Will Wheaton?
Will Wheaton, yeah.
Huh.
Will Wheaton was in the first one. I don't know if he'll be in any more of them, but I know that
Right.
they were talking about having a lot of celebrity cameos in this season.
Now, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's almost like selling out to what it originally was, or are
Oh
you
no, I
cool with
think
it?
it's great. I think
Okay.
the more attention the show gets, the better. It was
Okay.
on from like 1989 to 2000. So, I mean, it was been around forever, but it's still kind of like one of those things that's a little more obscure.
I remember I've seen some of them here and there when I was, teenager. I remember them a little bit, but
hmm It's definitely my favorite show of all time. I think it's
okay.
just a real fun way to watch old bad movies. It prepared me for getting used to watching old bad movies now.
Right.
Just a little hobby I do every now and then. Yeah, I'm glad they brought it back, and then so far it looks like their remake of it. Speaking of remakes, is or their reboot really, um, is pretty perfect. It's a great blend of old and new, and I'm excited to see the rest of it when it comes out later this month.
Wait, what do you mean remake?
Oh, it's kind of a reboot of the series. Like
Oh, really?
it's yeah, well, it's a
I thought it was like
continuation,
continuate. Yeah.
but they have a new host and they have a new cast, so it treads into that reboot territory as well.
Just curious, how did they explain it? Because wasn't it like he was like jettisoned into space or something?
The first host,
Was a
he was
janitor, you're
basically a
saying?
janitor, yeah,
Okay.
and they shot him into space. They're like, we want to take over the world, and we're going to do it by forcing everybody to watch these bad movies until they go crazy.
Uh-huh.
So the first host, he came and then he found a way to escape. So they had another guy that was down there working for him in their secret laboratory. They shot him up into space. Well, this one, it looks like they kind of explain it in the beginning, like he's a guy driving through space. I think he's like hauling garbage or something, and it's sometime it takes place in the future of the series. So the ancestor of the family that was running the experiment in the first place wants to restart it. So she kind of captures the guy and she forces him to be their guinea pig.
Okay. So there is a little bit of a story
There's a little
of
bit of a
just the
story. It's not
characters.
about the story, but the story helps.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I watched it a little bit when I was growing up, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, one of the things that always appealed to me about it was it felt kind of like a Saturday morning show. Kind of reminded me of like the original Land of the Lost, like the cheap set and all that stuff. They had that feel.
Right.
And the original host especially had like the feel where it was almost like a kid show where he'd have to explain the movies a little bit and like
Okay.
the ideas behind them. I thought that was cool, outside of the comedy because I enjoyed goofy stuff when I was a kid.
He came back
Well,
eventually,
he came
right?
back to he showed up back in like one episode. There were some
Okay.
behind the scenes issues as to why he ended up leaving. But now he's basically behind the reboot of the show, so everything
Okay.
is back in his hands, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out.
Okay. That's cool.
Was there anything else on our news?
I can't really think of anything, but kind of off topic a little bit. Have you ever watched or got into Doctor Who at all?
I've watched a little bit of it. I've seen maybe enough, like if somebody's making a reference to it, that I might
Mhm.
know that they're talking about Doctor Who. I don't watch
Yeah,
it on a regular basis. I've seen only like a handful of episodes.
gotcha. This guy at work, he let me borrow the I think he said it was like the first it was like the TV special or something like that. It was kind of like the first thing since the 80s. It came
hmm
out, I guess it came out in the 90s. It was like the first thing that, and I can't remember how many years he said, that kind of got it going again. I was just wondering what you thought, or if you had any thoughts on Doctor Who in general.
Not too much. I know that I think his name is David Tennant. Is one of the doctors, one of the early
Yeah, but
ones
this is the
since they
Doctor I think
redid it.
before him.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he came after this guy.
All right. Yeah, I know. I like that one actor. I think he's a funny actor. I know that one of the actors went on to be a bad guy in a Star Trek movie. Was he in Nemesis?
Tom Hardy was in Nemesis as the bad guy, but he wasn't in Doctor Who that I'm aware of.
I thought one of the doctors ended up. Well, maybe. Oh, you know what? Maybe it was Thor that I'm thinking of. The
Yeah, I
second
think that
Thor
might be
movie.
it. That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
It's something. Some of my buddies are kind of into it. One of these days I might check it out, but it's one of those series that have been going forever.
Right. Yeah. 60 something, 62 or 3. Then I
Mhm.
guess there's like 97 lost episodes.
Oh wow, that's a lot of lost episodes.
Yeah, I guess they from what my friend at work was telling me, he was saying that basically like there was only one copy at one of these like studio warehouses or something like burnt down.
Oh
And
no,
they
that's
only
like a whole 2 seasons or 3 seasons.
Yeah, but I think they do their seasons differently than we do anyway, or most of
Oh,
our.
probably.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
Well, today's episode's going to be a little different.
indeed.
We're talking about remakes, reboots, and soft reboots and sequels. Just a loose discussion on the things that are good and bad about them. I want to kind of start off with like almost like a definition of what a remake is and what a
What
reboot is.
is a remake,
Yeah, because
Brandon?
it gets a little confusing, especially nowadays, and everything's a remake, reboot.
Right.
Um, a remake honors the source material and could mean like a modernization in visual or cinematic style, social relevance, dialogue, or theme. It could add a director's unique vision to a project, or it could mean cultural repurpose to appeal to a regional audience. And the goal is to make a previously successful movie or TV show even better and capitalize on its previous success. And I got a couple examples of different types of remakes. Psycho from 1998 was basically a shot-for-shot copy of
Yep.
the
Just
1960
about.
version. War of the Worlds, it takes from the source materials of the 1898 novel, the 1938 radio broadcast, and 1953 film, and modernizes it. Keeps the same core plot and elements, but the story is different and updated for today's audience. And then another type of remake is remaking like a foreign film. The example I had for that one was The Magnificent Seven from 1960. It's actually a remake of a Japanese movie from 1954
The Hidden
called
Fortress, ain't it?
Seven Samurai.
Oh, Hidden Fortress is that Star Wars?
I'm not familiar with that one.
I know they said George took some inspiration from Japanese films for that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he took inspiration from a lot of stuff for those.
Yeah.
But yeah, it uses the same plot as the Japanese story, but just changes the setting to fit a Western audience.
Okay.
So those are just some examples of remakes, different types of remakes people can do. There's also reboots, which this is more talking about, I think, for franchises. When you want to reboot it, you kind of wipe the slate clean, you forget all of the previous continuity and start over.
Right.
And I guess a soft reboot would be where you do that, but you're still borrowing and using from the original continuity. And I think a good example of that might be X-Men Days of Future Past, how they kind of use that to say, all right, we can kind of forget about these earlier movies and start doing something new, but like this stuff still happened.
Right.
But it's kind of confusing, but that's the world we live in today.
Well, I think what helps with the X-Men movies is it's almost like I guess you can see this diagram somewhere online where they're talking about like almost like altered timelines, like parallel timelines. Some things are the same in this area or this strand of time, but they're different or subtly different in this strand of time or drastically different this strand of time.
Yeah,
Uh,
if you really want it to get confusing, you just throw time travel in the mix, and nobody knows how
yeah,
anything works anymore.
yeah,
So this is a good year, I think, to talk about sequels and reboots and all that because I was actually looking at the list of stuff that's coming out this year, and it's a little bit ridiculous.
okay,
I know people like to complain a lot that Hollywood is kind of like running out of ideas and nothing's an original idea anymore.
right,
I think, yeah, sometimes I'm like, yeah, that might be true, but I mean, there's still movies out there that are different. But then I looked at this list, and yeah, there's a lot of it this year. I wrote some of them down.
okay,
Actually, I wrote all of them down. Well, first, let's start with The Mummy. That's coming out this year. We both just watched the trailer. What did you
yep.
think of that?
I thought it looked better actually than the first trailer I saw for it.
Hmm.
The first trailer didn't really do too much for me. I'm not even sure exactly why, but I thought this trailer looked a little bit better. I did see where they were taking some of those ideals from the Brendan Fraser version, where like the mummy uses like a sandstorm to like almost like its face and it's engulfing somebody or whatever. I noticed that scene is almost like paying homage to it, or like
You mean like from the '90s movies or the
yeah.
early
Yeah, where like
2000s?
he's using the sandstorm as like to like
Hmm.
make his face and then like he engulfs that plane. I saw in the scene for this new one they're doing something almost exactly like that.
Mhm.
It looks interesting. I mean, I'm not saying yeah, the Mummy, but I might check it out. And
Well,
I also know
since
they're
you brought
trying.
up the Brendan Fraser ones,
Yeah.
how did you feel about those movies? I know there were what, four of them,
I think
three of
there's three, if you don't include all the Scorpion spin-offs.
them.
Oh yeah, maybe we should add spin-offs to this list.
Hmm.
But no, I think there's actually three. The first one is okay. I mean, it's very dated. The effects are pretty bad nowadays, but it's a fun movie. It's not great. It's not terrible. The second one, I don't think it was as good, and the third one was pretty bad.
Been a long time since I've seen any of them. I remember seeing the first one and kind of liking it. It was all right.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I saw the second one and didn't like it as much, but
right.
I remember almost nothing about it. It's been so long since I've seen those movies, and I know beyond the second one, I didn't see the Scorpion King or anything like that.
Yeah. I think the third one was Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and that had
Okay,
Jet Li in it.
yeah, that sounds familiar.
Well, the first one I kind of liked because it, again, being a big fan of Indiana Jones, it kind of somewhat reminded me of that. It was kind of like, at that time I felt, there was never going to be another Indiana Jones movie, which I wish there never was, but it was almost like an Indiana Jones type fix for the time being,
Yeah,
not as good, but kind of in that spirit.
yeah, when I looked at the trailer on Facebook and I looked at the comments, I feel like I should point out that, even though we're talking about the Brendan Fraser movies right now, this movie has nothing to do with those. On my list here of reboots that are coming out this year, it is a reboot, and it's not a reboot of the Brendan Fraser movies. It's a
Right.
reboot of just the franchise in general, which started in like 1932
Mhm.
with Boris Karloff, I believe, and it's Universal's attempt to create their own like shared universe similar to what DC and Marvel are doing right now. Yeah, I don't know about this. I was looking at this trailer. I agree that this trailer is more interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I want them to be successful because I think the idea of them rebooting the classic monsters is cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's parts of it look interesting and different, but then there's parts of it like I don't like characters that know everything in movies and have to constantly explain everything to us. And that's
Like Russell Crowe.
basically well, Russell Crowe's one of them, and the girl in the movie. I don't know who that is. I should have probably looked her up.
The power of editing, we already have it. Cut all that
Annabelle
out.
Wallace
Okay.
is her. She's playing Jenny Halsey. Okay, so what?
Yeah.
I'm looking at that. Okay. So we're actually looking up stuff about the movie for the first time right here, and Russell Crowe's character is actually Dr. Henry Jekyll.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So obviously they're already setting up that Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
Interesting.
yeah.
We'll see.
So yeah, there's characters that are there just to provide exposition, and it never makes sense to me like how they can know as much as they know. A good example for me with this is Jeepers Creepers. I remember seeing Jeepers Creepers not in the theater when it came out, but like when it came out on video. I was actually working at Blockbuster at the time, and I rented it. The first half of it, I'm like, wow, this is a pretty fun movie. This is cool. This is one of the coolest movies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And then like halfway through, they're like, all right, we're going to tell you exactly what this thing is. They introduce that psychic character that knows everything,
Mm-hmm.
which is a movie trope that I hate. Poltergeist does that. And I used to like Poltergeist, but every time it gets to that part, I hate it. When something's supposed to be unknown and scary and mysterious, why are you going to explain it? So yeah, they get to that part where the psychic is explaining exactly what the monster in Jeepers Creepers is, and then after that, they show it all throughout the movie. He's wearing. Have you seen the movie?
Mm-hmm. Once. It's been a while, but yeah, I've seen it
Yeah,
once.
all throughout the movie, he's wearing like a hat and a trench coat, and you can tell that he's humanoid, but he's not quite human.
Mm-hmm.
And you're wondering the whole time, like, what is this thing? And then it has like wings and stuff. And you're like, holy crap, like what's going on here? And then at the end of the movie, it's just a naked monster running around,
Yeah.
CG'd out, pretty much just killing the mystique of the monster to me. They look like they're doing that a lot in The Mummy here. Just that girl is explaining everything.
Yeah, I mean, the way they're probably going to explain it for the movie is that she's probably a paleontologist or something like that specializes in,
and that would be
Egyptian,
fine.
whatever, blah, blah, blah.
That would be fine. They find the mummy in the tomb and it has hieroglyphs everywhere. And if she can read that stuff and figure it out and decipher it, then that's cool. But that got me thinking too when I thought about that. It's like, I understand movies are a visual thing. and they want everything to look as good as possible. But does everybody, like even the super smart people that are supposed to be nerdy, have to be like these super fit, attractive people? You know?
Yeah.
Kind of a weird complaining that the girl is too hot, but it just got me thinking about that stuff. And
Yeah.
nobody really tries to be too different. They're trying to follow like almost a cookie cutter path to success. And lately, it's iffy if it's going to work. So anyway, I hope the movie does good. I'd like to see the other monsters show up. It could
Who
be
are you
pretty
most interested in
interesting.
seeing in an expanded universe?
Probably the Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, I was gonna say Frankenstein and Wolfman for me. Those are the two I'm most interested in.
Yeah, those two are pretty cool. Vampires have been done to death. I've never cared about vampires. I'd like
Yeah.
to go back and actually watch the original Dracula movies.
Hmm.
Even the 1950s and 70s ones with Christopher Lee in them, the Hammer movies, I'd like to go back and maybe watch those because I've never seen them.
Okay.
They looked interesting. But like as far as like vampires nowadays, like they're always supposed to be so cool and
Yeah.
I want my monsters to be kind of scary.
Yeah, they almost look like just nightclub people, like just really like fashionable and stuff and
Yeah, especially towards the end of the 90s, they became like goths and stuff. Like
yeah.
Blade was okay because it was kind of like an action movie.
Yeah.
But like they're all just like supposed to be like these super sexy things, and I just don't care.
Yeah.
Let me look at my list of reboots here. And I'm just gonna list off the reboots for this year and see if you have any thoughts on them.
Okay.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Not interested in myself.
I'm happy to see Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe finally. Sony didn't know what the heck they were doing. The first three Spider-Man movies I enjoyed. Even the third one, I know that one gets a lot of crap, but it was what it was. And I know that there's a lot of studio interference in it. I like Sam Raimi. I liked the cast for the original Spider-Man movies. Sounds like had they gone with Sam Raimi's idea, it would have been a more fun movie.
What was his idea?
The idea for that one was going to be to have the Vulture in it instead of Venom, and Venom got forced into that third movie. Sony wanted Venom, and so they just rushed it in, even though Sam Raimi didn't want to do it. I think they were still going to have the Sandman in it, maybe. But I know there was a rumor for a long time that they were going to reveal Bruce Campbell, who had been in the previous two movies, as supposedly different characters, to end up being Mysterio and being part of the plot. I don't know if he would have been a serious villain or not because it's Bruce Campbell.
Right.
But they were making jokes about how Mysterio is the only villain to beat Spider-Man, and if you go back and watch his first two movies, he kind of when he's like the wrestling promoter, the announcer, he's like, "What's your name, kid?" "The Human Spider." That sucks. You're the Spider-Man. So he throws him out there, and then in the second movie, he's the usher at the theater. And as much as Peter Parker wants to go in and see Mary Jane, Bruce Campbell's not having it, won't let him in. So in that way, he kind of beats Spider-Man. Let's see what else. Amityville: The Awakening. You know anything about those movies?
I think I saw there was a remake right in the early 2000s with Ryan Reynolds in it, correct?
Possibly.
I think I saw the first one and his remake, I think, but I don't remember much about him.
I'm pretty sure that the first movie came out in the 70s. It's based on true events type of story where it's a haunting in like somewhere in New England, I believe, like Connecticut or something like that. The real life story has controversy surrounding it, and the movie came out as a horror movie. When I was looking this up, I was shocked because it said it was the 19th installment.
Really?
I had no idea there were so many Amityville movies.
Huh. Like direct to video type things or what?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like maybe one of those things where it's like Saw, where they just pumped a bunch of them out one year or during a decade. But yeah, I found that pretty shocking because that's a lot. It seems like
it's almost James Bond level.
Yeah, except for nobody knows about them. So how are there 19? The Mummy, we talked about that.
Well, maybe different countries have done their own versions too, and it's sequels and.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up later because 19 just sounds crazy. Now I want to know the story behind that, but I don't have time to delve too deep into it. Smurfs: The Lost Village. Yeah, it's a cartoon and it's a reboot.
Yeah.
Power Rangers. I think it just came out. I've been hearing mixed things about it.
A friend at work said he liked it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually heard mixed to positive things about it. I've heard more positive stuff than negative stuff.
Okay.
I'll probably check it out, not in the theater.
Right. Yeah.
The last reboot on my list is Kong Skull Island, and we
Okay.
discussed that in previous episodes. You have any interest in seeing it now?
Yeah, I'll see it eventually. It's hard for me, man. Two jobs and home life and just
Yeah, so
it's
you'll
hard to get to
probably
the
check it out
movies.
when it comes out on home video.
Yeah, if someone wants to let me borrow it, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, I'll probably be buying it, so I'll let you borrow it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I can say that I went and saw it again a second
Oh,
time.
did you? Oh,
Yeah, and just real quick, it's my experience was exactly the same as the first time, so it didn't really change for me. It didn't get any better or worse,
okay.
which is a good thing. Yeah, everything I thought about the movie with my initial impression was still the same, and I enjoyed it. So there were parts that were stupid, but I liked it. I'm excited to see where they take that universe.
Right.
All right, now those are the reboots for 2017. There's a few remakes too. Murder on the Orient Express. Do you know anything about that?
I can't say I do.
It's an Agatha Christie story. I don't know how many mystery fans are out there. She's famous for murder mysteries. She did Miss Marple and Hercule Poirot. Yeah, I think they made maybe like a TV movie for that back in the day. They've turned a lot of her stories into movies. So they're remaking that for the big screen this year. Another one is Beauty and the Beast. I'm sure everybody's sick of that already. Another one that just came out and I've heard nothing but bad things about it, but I kind of still want to see it anyway, is Chips.
Oh yeah, that one I didn't even know it was coming out. I was looking on Rotten Tomatoes and just saw something about it, and I was like, I had no idea they were doing this. Where that even come from?
Yeah, I think is his name Dax Shepard, that actor that's in
Hmm.
it? Yeah,
Yep,
I believe
he directed it as well.
yeah. So it came from him. I guess he must have liked the TV show. I have pretty fond memories of the TV show.
Okay.
Because they show those types of reruns all the time, especially when we were kids. So I'd watch it all the time when I was a kid with my parents, and I had a really cool theme song. So I'm kind of interested. I'm sure it'll be nothing like the TV show, and the jokes will all be very adolescent and stupid.
Yeah.
But I'll probably end up seeing it anyway at some point. Ghost in the Shell just came out.
Yep.
I remember watching the animated movie so long ago that I barely remember it. Although I will say that from seeing the trailers for this movie, it looks like they actually stuck pretty close to the original story. There were scenes that I recognized, so that's cool. Although I don't really have a whole lot of interest in seeing it. Maybe when it comes out on video later.
Right.
Just something about Scarlett Johansson. Normally, I can tolerate her in movies, but in this, she just looks stupid to me.
Okay.
Did you have any interest in it?
I didn't watch the anime. I didn't really watch anime in general. It looks kind of interesting.
I think
Probably not enough
anybody
for me to
that's a
go out and
fan
see
of
it.
like Blade Runner might be interested in it.
Yeah, that's what actually kind of reminded me of Blade Runner, just by the look of it a little bit. So yeah, it might be something. Again, if you have it, you want to let me borrow it, I'll watch it. But
Yeah.
probably not going to make a big effort to see it.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in hearing about that one, just be patient
Yeah.
because I don't plan on seeing it in the theater anytime soon. I'll probably check it out later, like I said. Baywatch.
Oh, gee.
This has The Rock and Zac Efron in it. I don't know if I'll see it in the theater. I don't know if there's been any trailers for it yet. I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
Have you seen the movie Neighbors?
Neighbors.
They had Neighbors and they had a sequel to it.
Oh no. I'm sorry. It took me a second. No, I didn't. It's like that comedy movie, right?
Yeah, it has Seth Rogen and Zac
For
Efron
some
in it.
reason, I was thinking of a suspense thriller type movie.
Oh no. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I know what
comedy
you're
where
talking about. But no, I
well,
didn't see it.
in the first one, it's a bunch of frat boys moving next door to this young couple that has like their firstborn child. And the couple isn't really even grown up yet. They're both kind of idiots, but they realize how old they are once these college kids move in and start ruining their lives. I saw it on a date, which probably helped it. But no, I really liked the Neighbors movie, and I didn't realize that Zac Efron was actually a good actor and actually really funny.
Hmm.
And he was one of the best parts about that movie. He was hilarious, just his reactions and everything. I'm actually kind of a fan of his now.
Okay.
The Rock is always great, and now that I kind of like Zac Efron, I'm probably going to check out Baywatch.
Okay.
We'll see how the trailers look, but I may go see that one in the theater. Any memories of the TV show or interest in the movie?
I remember the show. Yeah. For the movie, probably not so much. Not for me. No.
I don't know anything about it, but I'm expecting at least one cameo.
Oh yeah. I suspect that David will be in it.
Yeah. It.
Okay, now that's actually kind of ironic. I am somewhat interested in this movie. Not saying I'm dying to see it, but I watched the trailer for the new one and I thought it was kind of interesting looking.
Okay, yeah, I just watched the trailer recently. We can talk about that for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on the trailer?
It kind of piqued my interest. Like I said, I mean, I might check it out once it's on video or if you have it again. But I'm usually not a fan of those types of movies, but it did look kind of intriguing to me.
If I have a friend that's really interested in it and wants to go see it in the theater, I'll go with them.
Yeah.
Right now, the trailer doesn't have me exactly sold on it.
Okay.
It looks interesting, like you said. I like that the kids are actually kids.
Yeah.
Like they all seem pretty young, about like 12, 13. Yeah, I watched the trailer. It was cool that the kids were kids. The thing that kind of bothered me about them being so young like that was like
Mhm.
their dialogue. They sounded a lot smarter than they should be. They're talking about like the statistics of people that go missing every year, and I'm thinking to them myself like, all right, if one of them sees something strange, they're gonna find out everything about it. Like what they do, go to the library. There's a section on it. So I don't know how that works out. It just that kind of looked odd to me.
I mean, they showed they were looking at like the slides of various things and whatever, like newspapers or whatever.
I believe the original movie was made for TV, almost like a miniseries, like a
Yes.
two-parter.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm not sure that this one is going to have them grow up.
I don't think it needs to. I think it'd kind of be more interesting just to have it as is, just all set in the as children, you know.
But since we're talking about it, or so it is based on a Steven Spielberg movie. Or
What? I
Steven
was like,
Spielberg.
yeah, Stephen
All right,
King.
let me say that again. It is
Okay.
based on a Stephen King novel.
Yes.
Now I believe we're after that I'm done with remakes, but then we move on to sequels. Okay, it's not on my list here, but there's one I think called The Dark Tower coming out, which is also
Hmm.
a Stephen King story. I don't know a lot about that one. I've seen some Stephen King stuff, and I think in general I don't like him.
Okay.
He seems to have this thing where that he always does. He likes to put it in a small town, which is fine. But pretty much, if you're watching a movie based on a Stephen King story, anybody that's religious in the movie is the bad guy.
Hmm.
It seems to be a reoccurring theme.
Yeah, I never noticed it, but now that you pointed out, I can kind of see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in Silver. Well, spoilers here. If you haven't seen any of these, then too bad.
Yeah.
Like Silver Bullet, the
Yep.
werewolf was the priest.
Right.
In the mist, all the people are trapped in that store, and it turns out the religious people go crazy and end up being the bad guys.
Right.
So that kind of annoys me. It gets old. Like, what would be wrong with having the religious people stand up and like lead everybody and keep everybody calm?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Eh,
agenda.
it just seems so cliched. Maybe he's the one that created that cliche. I don't know. All right, so we're moving on to sequels here. Well, before we do, one, two, three, four, five. So that's 6 remakes and 6 reboots. So that's 12 movies already this year that are based on previous works.
Hmm.
Now sequels. Underworld Blood Wars.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those. Those are outstayed their welcome, haven't they?
Yeah, I remember seeing the original one in the theater, and I was kind of excited. Like the idea seemed kind of neat to me. Like, oh, vampires versus werewolves. Even though I don't care too much for vampires, I think they're dumb. I just thought werewolves were cool, and
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of good werewolf movies really. So I went to go see it, and I didn't really like it. It just seemed like it was trying to be so cool. I
Yeah.
think one thing that I can think back to that really annoyed me was and it's a weird detail to be annoyed by. I remember at the end she was fighting the bad guy and she cut him in half, and he did this thing where he stayed together for a minute, and then he got a weird look on his face, and then he slowly slid apart. And it's like that wouldn't happen. That's stupid. They just did that to be cool.
Yeah.
And that was basically the whole tone in the movie. Like everything was to be cool. Everybody's wearing black leather and
Yeah.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
I'm not. I mean, I'm gonna see it, of course. I'm not like I haven't seen anything for it, so I'm not like super excited about it. But I'll definitely see it.
Yeah, I don't know if they've released any trailers or teasers or anything like that yet.
I don't think so.
Still early in the year. I think it's coming out probably around
Yeah.
Christmas time.
Yeah. It seems like the new trend is now December releases for those.
Yeah. The Force
Maybe they'll just
Awakens was
rip
alright.
off Empire Strikes Back this time.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering that if it would be like the dark middle story, similar to how it was with the original trilogy. Yeah, I'm sure I'll see it. I'm not as enthused about Star Wars as a lot of people are. The Force Awakens is okay, but it just seemed way too similar to the original trilogy, especially A New Hope.
Right.
I didn't really like Rogue One. I thought it was a bad movie that got overhyped and overrated.
I don't think we ever talked about Rogue One. Why don't you tell me what you think about that, and I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to hear about Rogue One, just listen to the first 8 episodes,
Yeah,
and
really. Just about.
you'll hear about it about every time.
Yeah.
Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle.
Right now I'm not really interested. I haven't seen anything for. I've seen some pictures for it, but I'm not really interested in myself.
I didn't see the first one in the theater, and I think I didn't even see it until I was like already in my mid to upper 20s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a fun movie. I'm sure the new one will be fun for kids and stuff. The Rock's in it, which, it's always fun to watch The Rock, I guess. So
See, I'm not a big fan of The Rock. I think he seems like he's probably a nice guy, but he's just a one-trick pony to me. All he can do is that same thing. Just Mr. Tough Guy, with his eyebrow up, Mr. Cool. I just don't see him as anything serious myself. He's just our new Schwarzenegger, essentially. To me, I think I'm in the minority on that one as well.
So what you're saying is you can't smell what he's cooking.
No, I can't.
Okay. Pitch Perfect 3. I don't think either one of us have anything to say about that.
Nope.
I believe that's a girl movie about singing.
Yes.
Okay. Triple X, Return of Xander Cage.
Oh, really?
I believe this is the third movie. It was Triple X, and then there was another Triple.
Did that one already come out?
Fame.
I think that one already came out, didn't it?
Xander Cage?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I think
Maybe
it
not.
didn't yet.
Okay.
Through magic of internets, we will find out shortly. But yeah, I remember seeing the first one and thinking it was ridiculous. They're like, oh, it's like the extreme sports version of James Bond. And I was like, yeah, this is mind-numbingly stupid. January 20th. So yeah, that came and gone. It did fairly well, I guess. 346 million, it says. So that was based on an $85 million budget. So we're going to be looking forward to more of those. The second one had Ice
Cube, yeah.
Yeah, Ice Cube in it. I didn't see that one. Resident Evil, the final chapter.
I'm not really interested myself.
I saw the first one and hated it. Did you ever play the games?
No, not really. I might have played for a minute at a friend's house, but not really, no.
I didn't have a PlayStation when I was a kid, so I ended up playing the first one when they remade it for GameCube.
Okay.
And I thought it was a really cool game. Like they had like all sorts of like really neat like camera angles and stuff. It added to the feeling of not knowing what was there, and it'd have like these spooky sound effects. You weren't sure if there was something around the corner coming to get you or not. You would see shadows dancing around, and you couldn't tell, is that a tree branch? Is that a zombie?
Oh, that's cool.
It was super creepy. Like there's a room you'd go into and the camera angle was like looking at the room from underneath the bed. So it's almost like something was watching you.
Right.
And there were just parts in it that were so spooky. Watching the movie, it wasn't a horror movie. It was a sci-fi action movie with...
Yeah, because it was all about like an infection, right?
Yeah. I mean, that was still the same. Like they still used like elements from the game. Instead of being a horror movie, it was a zombie action movie with a bunch of sci-fi stuff in it. And it's just like, why? Like it was already set up to be like the scariest movie ever. Why did you do that? Instead of being the having like a slower pace with weird camera angles and spooky sound effects and like lots of subtle horror in it, it was a bunch of soldiers fighting hordes of zombies with machine guns and lasers.
Yeah.
So didn't really care for it. I saw the second one. The second one was really stupid, but I enjoyed it more. It seemed more fun.
Okay.
After that, I didn't catch any more of them. If anybody out there is a fan of like Red Letter Media, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can Google them. I think they got just about all of their stuff on YouTube right now. They have a YouTube video of them watching all of the Resident Evil movies, and just watching their reactions as they go through these movies is all you really need to see. It's more entertaining than movies. I'm glad that this is the final chapter, although there's been tons of final chapters that weren't. So we'll see how this turns out.
They're the final chapter of a specific book.
Right, yeah. The final chapter of part 1.
Yeah.
So, Rings. That one already came out. We know that one bombed, and that's the reason that they're not going to do a Friday the 13th movie, apparently. Although, when I was looking at the list of movies coming out this year, they did have a unnamed Paramount Pictures horror movie.
Okay.
So maybe they're still working on it. Hopefully, I would add that to the sequels then. I'm a fan of the Friday the 13th series, although the last few of them were pretty bad. So, yeah, Rings. Did you ever see the original Ring?
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
I mean, enough for just watching it that, you know what I mean? I think it was like all right while I watched it. It wasn't like something I wanted to keep going on and on with, or, super anticipating sequels or anything. Or
Interestingly, on this list of remakes and reboots and such, this is actually a sequel to a remake. So, hey, how about that?
Yeah, it was a Japanese film originally, right?
Yeah. It was spooky. I don't really care for the Japanese style horror. I liked The Grudge better, and I saw the American version of that. 50 Shades Darker. I know you're excited for this.
Extremely excited about it.
John Wick, Chapter 2.
I finally saw John Wick 1, so I am definitely interested.
I've heard nothing but good things about John Wick, and I've had
Yeah.
it forever, and I have yet to watch it.
Yeah, I finally watched it. I really liked it.
I like Keanu Reeves. I think
Mm.
he's pretty decent in like action movies.
Right.
It might just be me, but I think Keanu Reeves would probably be like one of the coolest actors to hang out with.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. I get that vibe from him though. Like he would seem like just an everyday dude. Logan, we've heard about that one plenty.
Yep.
Whenever I get it, I'll let you borrow it.
Thank you.
Guardians.
You're going to be my blockbuster.
Yeah, I'll be honoring my first job.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm excited for it. You're not?
Correct.
Alien Covenant. I think we're both a little interested in this.
Yeah, semi-interested. I mean, not peeing my pants over it, but,
This is one of, I believe, 2 movies on my list here. The first of 2 that is both a sequel and a prequel. Yeah, I believe it's a sequel to
Prometheus.
Maybe not a direct sequel, but it takes place after Prometheus, before Alien, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Looks interesting. I'll definitely be checking that out when it comes out. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul.
No.
No, not a Wimpy Kid fan?
I never saw him, but no, I'm good.
I know they're based on books.
Yeah.
I guess once we got out of school, they replaced Goosebumps with Wimpy Kid. Or Goosebumps is still going, I guess. But for when we were in school, Goosebumps was like, it was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Everybody had those. They collected them.
Yep.
I also collected the Boxcar Kids, or Boxcar Children.
Yeah, I actually had some of those books too, yeah.
An Indian in the Cupboard.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that was a series of books. I remember the movie, but I never saw it.
I believe there are at least 3 of them. There's probably more. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
I don't know. I mean,
The first one, and I thought it was all right. It was cool. It was a pirate movie.
Yeah.
That was before people got sick of Johnny Depp doing crazy characters. I don't remember anything about the sequels. I don't even know if I saw them.
I actually think the 4th movie was better than the 2nd and the 3rd movie.
Oh, so this is the 5th one? I thought it was the 4th.
This is the 5th one. Yeah, I think the 4th one was on Stranger Tides. That's what it was called.
I do like Javier Bardem. I think he's a great actor. It looks interesting to me, even though I haven't seen really any of the sequels. I mean, I don't know if you'll need to.
I wouldn't think so.
It looks interesting. I might check it out.
Okay.
It'd be nice to hear people say good things about Johnny Depp again.
Yeah.
If it does well. The one everybody's waiting for, especially if you live in China, Transformers: The Last Night.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I couldn't care less about Transformers.
I am so excited for this movie to be over with. So they don't make any more.
Yeah.
Despicable Me 3. I've not seen any of these. Have you?
I think I saw the first one.
Did you enjoy it?
It was okay. I mean, it was just one of those movies that was fine to watch the one time. For me, it wasn't like nothing to write home about.
Annabelle Creation, and this one is a prequel.
I actually just saw the trailer for that today.
I've not seen any trailers.
Yeah, it's just to me, it looks like a stereotypical horror movie. The stereotypical tropes and all that.
Yeah, I guess the first one was based on a side story from, I think, The Conjuring.
Okay.
I didn't know that. At the beginning of the movie, they showed the doll, Annabelle, and they didn't go into it too much. It was just something that was there, and then they decided, because the studio just had some time to kill, let's make a movie about this doll. So this one's a prequel about the doll, so I guess it's how it became a haunted doll.
Okay, see, I didn't realize that it had anything to do with anything else.
So The Conjuring, that series of movies is actually based on a real life couple that have gone around and have investigated hauntings and all sorts of weird stuff like that. And they actually have like collections of haunted items and stuff. I don't know too much about them outside of that. I know that in Florida, you can, if anybody listening lives in Florida, watch out for Robert the Haunted Doll. He's at some museum down there. Apparently you can get your picture taken with Robert and talk to him, and there's something you can do to take him off and he have bad luck. I can't remember how the story goes, but Google Robert the Haunted Doll if you're interested in that stuff. Okay. Next one is the other sequel prequel, War for the Planet of the Apes.
Not a huge, I never really got into the old ones, the like Charlton Heston and the sequels to his. Obviously I saw the Tim Burton one, and then I saw the newest remake with James Franco, and it was all right. I mean, but again, it's not my franchise, so I never really got too invested in it. I mean, it doesn't look like a bad movie, but just doesn't super piqued my interest.
I remember seeing the original one with Charlton Heston like on TV years ago, and I thought it was really cool. And I imagine when it came out, like the special effects had to have been really cool. The twist ending is pretty famous now. I'm sure that was awesome to see that in the theater. Like, holy crap!
Right.
I know that the Tim Burton one got crapped on a little bit
Yeah.
for them twisting the twist ending, and I remember liking the Tim Burton one though. Like, I thought the apes looked really amazing, like all the gorillas and the different
Yeah.
the orangutans and all that stuff. And I heard stories about like even on set. Well, I guess this is for the original one. On the set, the different types of apes would all hang out together and wouldn't associate with the other types of apes and stuff like that. It was kind of funny. Yeah, I remember kind of liking the Tim Burton one. I don't remember it too much. I'd like to go back and watch it. That's something I've been thinking about for a while. I was never really a huge Mark Wahlberg fan.
Okay.
I mean, he's all right, but the way he usually acts, it just
But
seems
what a great burger, huh?
Okay, Wahlburger, they're putting one.
Yep, on Eureka, the old
Yeah,
big boy.
I wouldn't mind checking it out. If I bumped into him, that'd be pretty cool. I wonder if I'm taller than him.
Really?
Yeah, he's actually supposed to be pretty short.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
I liked when they kind of like rebooted or started the prequels for these. First one with James Franco. It was okay. There were some dumb moments. Like I thought, them trying to recreate lines from the original movie was stupid. Like there's that guy who was like taking care of all the apes that they would experiment on, and
Malfoy or whatever.
yeah, and he's
From
like,
the Harry
"Hey,
Potters. Yeah.
get your damn hands off me, you dirty apes," or whatever. And I'm like, come on, you don't gotta mouth Charlton Heston's line, and don't give it to this stupid character.
Yeah.
The second one I liked a lot better.
And I didn't see that one.
Oh, I liked it a lot better. This one doesn't even look as appealing to me. I'm not that interested in it. I might see it.
Yeah.
It might be great. I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of that second one, but when I saw it, I thought it was so good. I thought it was way better than the first one.
Okay.
I believe that one was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature.
What?
The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature.
Never heard of it.
I believe it's about a squirrel.
Okay.
Flatliners.
Never heard of it.
Flatliners, I remember, was a movie from, I think, the very early 90s. It may have had Emilio Estevez in it. And I think the storyline was something like they were scientists. It's about a group of scientists that were trying to study near-death experiences. So they would give each other like shots or something or suffocate each other, do something to where the person would be clinically dead. And they would leave them that way for like a minute and then revive them and then talk about what happened. And then I think as the movie went, they actually started to like see things from the other side and stuff like that. I never got to see it all the way. I've tried to watch it a few times. I've just never been able to finish it for one reason or another.
Okay.
And when I saw this was on the list, I thought it was going to be a remake because it is also just called Flatliners, but I guess it is a sequel to that movie. I may have to go back and try and watch that original again. Kingsman, The Golden Circle. I don't know anything about this.
I saw the first one. It was a movie I really wanted to see. I thought the trailer made it look really cool, and I didn't really like it once I saw it.
Blade Runner 2049.
I can't say I'm interested. I finally saw that movie like a few years back, and I just didn't get it. I don't know. I'm just not cool enough for it. I didn't get it, man.
It's one of those movies that gets built up, and then when you finally see it, or at least for me, when I finally saw it, I was like, this is a little bit boring.
Yeah.
I may have to rewatch it. I know there's different versions of it now, like a director's cut and stuff.
Yeah.
It's got, a cult following. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch it. Maybe I'll have a new appreciation for it. What else is on this list? Insidious, Chapter 4.
I don't know much about that.
The first one was very comparable to me to Jeepers Creepers.
Okay.
Where the first half started out awesome, and then it kind of went downhill from there. Although I wasn't as disappointed in it as I was with Jeepers Creepers. I like the actress a lot from the first one, first two. I don't know who was in the third one. I haven't really been keeping up. I tried to watch the second one, and I couldn't. I got like halfway through, and I was like, I'm not interested. But yeah, the first one was pretty cool. It was a neat idea. They just had that psychic person come in and ruin everything again, and then they tried to give the other place in this movie is comparable to Poltergeist too, where the kid gets pulled into like another dimension, and the psychic comes in. She's like, I call it the further, and I'm like, that's the dumbest thing you could call it. Why would you do that? And then she explains everything she knows about all these entities that live in the other world and how all the rules for this other world, stuff that nobody could ever really know or understand, but she's got it all down. And somehow she's the only one that knows.
Yeah.
it was kind of neat. It had a little bit to do with like, astral projection, leaving your spirit, leaving your body when you're sleeping or something, and like a demon attaches itself to the kid, and you're not sure what's going on at first. You think it's just gonna be like a haunted house movie, but then you see the demon and it looks really sweet. Yeah, it was kind of. They tried to make it a little bit different, and it was okay.
Okay.
Saw Legacy. This is, I believe, the 104th Saw movie.
Yeah.
I've never really been interested in
Yeah.
watching people get tortured. I've heard the first one is actually pretty good, but I'm just saw off your foot if you want to get into the other room. I don't care.
Yeah.
Did you have any interest in that?
No, not really. I didn't even know it was coming.
Yeah. Hopefully it's the last one because they've made like 8 of them. Thor Ragnarok.
Not really interested right now.
I think this might be the Marvel movie for this year that I'm most excited to see. From everything I've heard about it, and I know you're a little bit burnt out, but from everything I've heard about it, it just sounds like it's going to be super fun.
Okay.
I've heard it described a bunch of different ways. One of the more interesting ways is like a buddy film. If you don't want to know anything about this movie, then get off the internet. So, from what I've heard, is Thor is going to be bumping into the Hulk somewhere, and they're going to be buddies for a little bit, and also possibly Doctor Strange is going to be in it. There's supposedly a bunch of villains in it, not just one. There's going to be probably one main villain, but I think they're going to do a lot to kind of wrap everything up and lead it into the Avengers having to get together, the Avengers and everybody else getting together to fight Thanos. If you're not a Marvel nerd, I sound like a dork to you, but I am excited to see that. I'm waiting to see like the conclusion, the climax of the story that started. When did Iron Man come out?
2008, I believe.
2008.
Was it 6? I thought it was 8.
Well, magic of internet. Let's go. Iron Man. 2008. Okay, you're right. Yeah, it began with Iron Man. Nobody knew it was coming, and then they've done a pretty good job at connecting all these movies without overdoing it in most of them. Just dropping hints and stuff. The end credit scenes have become infamous. I'm ready to see this wrap up.
So are they doing a phase 4, or is they actually ending it with phase 3?
Well, okay. Well, Thor isn't going to be the last one before they do. I believe that when they fight Thanos, it's going to be called Avengers Infinity War or Infinity something. There's 2 of them that are
right. Yep.
Infinity War. It was going to be part 1 and part 2, but then they said no, it's going to be 2 separate movies. Like it's not going to be necessarily part 1, part 2.
Okay.
So as far as Thanos goes, there's going to be 2 movies surrounding him. I'm guessing in the first one he'll probably kill everybody, and then the second one will be about everybody coming back somehow and being able to defeat him. That's just my assumption. I have no idea. There's a few movies before we get there. There's Thor. There's going to be a Black Panther. I think is going to be the last one before that happens. And then between the 2 movies, I think they're doing one called Captain Marvel, which is about a female superhero.
Brie Larson, I believe.
Yeah, and she's playing something Danvers. Carol Danvers, I think is her name. I don't know a whole lot about her, but she's probably the closest thing that they'll have. Her and Thor will be the closest thing they have to like Superman. She will probably be the most powerful one. What was your question that you had?
I don't remember asking. When did I ask a question?
Oh, phase 4.
Oh yeah, phase 4.
I think that they're probably planning it, but they haven't announced anything. I think they're just more concentrating on making sure all of this goes right. Marvel's done, I know some people are getting burnt out. Like I can feel it a little bit myself, but I'm still pretty invested in the story. Marvel's done such a great job because I don't think any other movies have necessarily bombed. There's a couple that haven't done as well as the others, and I feel like some of them for me have been misses. Like, for example, Iron Man 3. A lot of people like that one. I didn't.
I didn't either.
And Avengers 2, I thought Age of Ultron looked sweet, but once we actually saw it, it was a big mess. But they haven't had any real failures, and that's pretty impressive, especially when you look over at DC and what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of tip your hat to them for at least keeping up a consistent quality. God Particle. I put this one down as a sequel with a question mark.
I'm not familiar with it.
God Particle is the working title of a movie coming out later by Bad Robot, which has been rumored. I'm not sure if it's confirmed now or not. It looked almost like it had been confirmed, but you can't trust Wikipedia and everything. To be the 3rd installment in the Cloverfield franchise.
Okay.
last time I looked up the information on it, if this were a movie by itself, I'd probably go see it because it sounds interesting. About a group of astronauts that are in space conducting some kind of experiment. Something happens with the experiment that goes wrong, and they realize it when Earth suddenly vanishes. That sounds like an interesting premise.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the actual premise of the movie or not, and if so, how it would tie into the other two. We'll probably end up talking about those other two at some point in
Well,
the
yeah, I mean,
podcast.
to me, even the second one really wasn't connected to the first one, really.
Yeah, it's hard to say if it was connected how, or some people have wondered if maybe they're doing kind of like an anthology series where it's just like they're gonna kind of refer to Cloverfield every time they make one of these like science fiction monster type movies. Yeah, I think we'll probably get around to talking about those at some point.
Okay.
I enjoyed both of them.
I liked the second one.
You don't like the first one?
Not really.
The first one got a little bit of controversy because of or not controversy. It had a little bit of a mixed reaction due to the shaky cam.
Yeah.
Was that your issue with it?
Yeah, you couldn't tell what was going on. It was moving around too fast, and yeah, I never liked that kind of movie.
I don't like shaky cam in action movies. When it's supposed to be a guy holding a camera, though, like it kind of made it feel more real to me.
Mm.
Like there were times where he's running around and it's like you can't see anything, of course, because he's running. But there are other times where he's getting good shots of stuff. I don't know. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm a huge fan of giant monsters, so we'll probably go deeper into those at some point. Daddy's Home 2.
I know what that is, but I didn't see it.
Is that a Will Ferrell movie?
Yeah, Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg.
Okay. Well, it's probably exactly what it sounds like. Paddington 2, which I guess is about Paddington Bear. Used to watch that when I was a kid. Don't remember too much about him, except it always seemed a little bit dreary.
Okay.
Cartoon. I don't know. I think it was actually stop animation.
I never watched it as a kid.
Yeah, I remember Paddington Bear. He'd always have a hat on and like a blue coat, and he looked like he was always ready for it to be raining. And he used to love toast with marmalade.
Okay.
That's all I really remember. Didn't see the movie. I guess it did okay because they're making a sequel. And then finally on my list of sequels here, because 2017 is filled with unoriginal ideas. Justice League.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think Marvel can do it. I don't think they can pull it off. I'm starting to think that they
DC?
just don't have one. Or yeah, you know what I mean.
They're interchangeable.
Yeah, I don't think they can do it. It seems like I mean, granted, I still haven't seen Suicide Squad, but I'm still willing to watch it. I'd like to see it for myself. It just doesn't seem like they got it together. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not.
Did you see Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it had the potential to be way better than Batman vs Superman, and I guess in some ways it may have been, but much like Avengers 2, it just seemed like a big mess.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm still willing to watch it for myself, but I don't expect great things out of it.
No, I'll have to link it to you. Maybe we can put it on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page. Go check it out. Maybe we could put it on our Facebook page of a guy talking about editing and bad editing, and he specifically uses Suicide Squad to show what not to do.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to show it to you. It's a pretty cool video. Yeah, I've pretty much no interest in Justice League or Wonder Woman. The only way I'm going to see either one is if I get dragged to them.
I mean, not that I'm all about it, but I think Wonder Woman looked more interesting than Justice League myself. Not saying it's going to be good or great or anything, but it looked better. If I had the choice to see Justice League or Wonder Woman, I'd probably see Wonder Woman.
It's interesting that at least part of it takes place in World War I.
Yeah, instead of two, everything's two.
Yeah, a lot of people jump to World War II, and that's everybody's favorite war. That's the popular war. Everybody just loves World War II.
Yeah.
Not that anybody actually likes war, but...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, World War II gets a lot of attention. I mean, it should. It's a huge part of history, but it's a movie setting that, wears thin. That's pretty much all on my list. Let me count this up here. You might have to edit some dead space. 29 sequels.
That's is that combining them all, or that's just literally sequels?
That's just the sequels on top of the 6 remakes and the 6 reboots. That's quite a bit. So I'd say a good chunk of this year is remakes, reboots, and sequels.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's where we're going to end it for now. We appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. And next time we'll be doing our best and worst sequels, prequels, and remakes, part 2 of this series.
You might say that it's the sequel to this episode.
Oh, you might.
See what I did there?
I caught it right on, yes.
Okay.
That was very good.
All right, well, take it easy, everybody. And please, if you have any questions or requests, send them to us at the Escape Podcast.
Yes, they can get us on escapepodcast16@gmail.com, Escape Podcast 16 on Facebook, and Podomatic. You can find us at the Escape Podcast on iTunes, and you can also now find us on YouTube by searching the Escape Podcast.
Yes, and we'll link the YouTube channel to our Facebook.
Right, yes, absolutely. All right, Brandon, I will see you next week.
Bye-bye. We're going, we don't need podcasts.
Wow, this is so sloppy.
I know.
All right.
Being his age, I'm not sure that he would be the star of it. More like a main side character
Hey,
or something.
your voice is doing that thing.
Ah, dang. Seeing probably while they're flipping the channel, and either your turn.
Gee.
I think it's one of those things. Movies, and it has kind of like that. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut my window.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right.
Curse of the Mummy. This is Curse of the Podcast.
Wait. Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Do I sound okay?
Yes.
Man, that's annoying.
What happened? Or do you not know?
I don't know. But man, as soon as we start recording, I heard dogs barking, people laughing. Microphone goes on the fritz. Phone rings. Anyway, we got part of it done.
Yeah.
Is this better? Dang it. As soon as we start recording.
Oh, man.
Okay. Does it sound any better?
No, it doesn't actually.
Ah, dang it.